ॐ स्थापकाय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतारवरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः।
Friends, welcome back to the study of the Bhagavad Gita, and we were studying the end portion of the second chapter, universally and traditionally known as Sthita Prajna's Lakshana. Let me remind you in short, refresh your memory, the sequence of the development of the thought processes from the first shloka. Arjuna was totally confused, confounded, and therefore in deep agony. Why? His sense of duty was compelling him to fight this war. When he found that to complete this warfare, he has to kill his beloved grandfather, his teachers, acharyas of weaponry, acharya of statecraft Kripacharya, weaponry Dronacharya, Bhishma Pitamaha, and all the blood relationships and the emotional relationship, he thought the price was too heavy to pay. Call of duty and the price to pay because of emotional relationship and blood relationship. He did not know what to do, and uncertainty is the cause of all misery. So he was terribly in grief, a burning grief, he said. Nashatma vidmo kataranna gariyo. He says, it's burning me like hellfire. I do not know what to do. I think the best way for me is to run away from this world, this duty, this fight. I don't want my kingdom, I don't want my throne, I don't want my empire. It is better I live a life of a mendicant monk in the hills and the dales. That is what the first chapter tells you. And then Sri Krishna, a master teacher, a perfect teacher, he does not scold him. He does not pulls him up. He just plants a little doubt in his conclusion. Are you sure, Arjuna, to run away from this warfare, to be a mendicant monk, is the best avenue open to you? Are you sure? Keeps on planting doubt and hesitancy in his so-called conviction. And he puts it very masterly. How does he say? That you Bhayat ranat uparavati. Out of fear, you are running out of this warfare. People will not understand your high-sounding philosophy. People will say, Arjuna is a paper tiger. He growls and howls and etc., when the battlefield is to his favor. When he is against him, he runs away from the battlefield with his tail behind his hind legs. Are you prepared to suffer this ignominy? Are you prepared to suffer this loss of reputation? Think over, Arjuna. It's for you to think over. He plants these doubts. To cut it short, nobody wants to lose his reputation. I don't know a single person who's prepared to barter away his reputation. So is Arjuna. So he was in a double mind. What to do, what not to do. Ultimately, he breaks down. And he says, Sir, I have all my faculties in me, but somehow or other, I have created such a situation for myself. I do not know how to come out of it. Like a miser sitting on a world of wealth does not know how to utilize that money, at least for his own comfort, much more or much less for the comfort of others. He has it, he does not know how to utilize it. He's a miser. He says, I find myself like a miser. I am a well-educated, well-enlightened, well-qualified, well-respected person in this society with all these faculties around me. I do not know how to utilize it and solve my own problem. Will you please kindly help me out? Where do I go but you? I know who you are. You are Lord God incarnate, but for the worldly point of view, you are my cousin brother. I am your aunt's son. So, please kindly help me. You are my cousin mother, you are my friend, philosopher and guide. I take shelter under your benign care. O Lord God of the universe, Keshava Krishna, please help me out. That's how the Gita starts. Now, what does he do in the second chapter? This is the essence of the first chapter. What does he do in the second chapter? He talks to him firstly from highly philosophical and spiritual point of view. That Arjuna, Ashochvan Anvasochastam Pragya Badang Shabhashase Gatashun Agatashun Danu Shoshanti Pandita. What does it mean? He says, look Arjuna, you are talking tall, you are talking like a wise man, but the basis of your talk is you are repenting and lamenting on something on which nobody ever repents or laments. And you are talking tall. You are behaving like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Split personality. What is all this about? Now answer to this question of mine. Were you responsible for the birth of all these people around you? Are you responsible for their life and living? Do you know when they will die, how they will die, when they will die? Do you know anything of this? And you, like a stupid ass, arrogating onto you, you are the killer. What is killing? Destruction of this body. The soul is beyond your competence. The soul is beyond your competence. The soul is indestructible. This is in the domain of Maya. And you are talking tall, telling me all the philosophies. Even we find a shloka when Arjuna pats his own back and says, Oh, ahobat mahat papam kartum vyavashita vayam. Oh dear me, thank God, I was on the verge of perpetuating the heinous crime of killing my grandfather and my seniors. Thank God I stopped it, thereby casting an aspersion on Krishna. What were you doing? Couldn't you stop me from committing this heinous crime? He went to that extent. He was so confused. Sri Krishna slowly and slowly first gives him the whole truth, nothing but the truth, right on his very face. What is that? The soul is beyond you. Soul is indestructible, it is immutable, it is infinite, it is eternal, it is absolute, it is everlasting. Nobody can touch it. That is the first thing he said about the quality of the soul, the definition of the soul, the reality hidden behind the apparent world. That's the first thing he said. And second thing he says, that is what is of concern to us. It is for us that he says, because Arjuna has reduced himself to our level of living, worldly. He says, I will teach you a procedure, I will teach you a methodology, a technique by means of which you will live in this world. You will perform your duties of this world guided by sense of morals, sense of ethics, sense of reality hidden behind the appearance. I will teach you to live in this world in such a manner that while the flow of life going, with an attitudinal correction, with a change in your perspective, and a twist in your understanding, you perform the duties of life. They will not be a cause of bondage. What is bondage? Being subject to happiness and grief, happiness and misery, ecstasy and agony, like a pendulum. That is bondage. You will be free of this bondage, and this procedure will slowly and slowly and slowly lead you to emancipation, liberation, freedom. Call it by any name, and you will be one with your true original nature. I will teach you that. It was a great sense of relief for Arjuna, relief for all also. Let us look at ourselves. We live in this world performing our duties, and while performing our duties, we are guided away by our likes and dislikes, and we can become victim of our follies and failures, and thereby we suffer misery, agony, pain, sadness, or happiness, joy, ecstasy. We swing like a pendulum in this life. Is there any method with which I live in this world and I emancipate myself, I liberate myself, I free myself and manifest the divinity which is my true original nature? It's a philosophy of hope. He tells you, I can teach you that. Are you prepared to listen? And he introduces, after Sankhya Buddhi, that is, the awareness of the eternal absolute existence of the soul, which is our true original nature, essence of this whole world. Having said so, Buddhir yoge tu imam shrino. Listen to me. Buddhi yoga, karma yoga, performing which karma bandham prahasyasi. You will get rid of the bondage of expectation of results of my activities in this world. And he eulogizes that principle. Samattam yogamuchyate yoga karmashu koshalam naiva papam avapsasi, and so on and so forth. What does he say? That I will teach you a technique by this performance of duty which we perform as of today with a depth of attachment which causes bondage, that is love for pleasure and aversion for pain. I make myself a victim of this. I will teach you. You will live in this world. You will continue to perform your duties, but these will not be able to disturb you. What to speak of disturbing you, will not be able to touch you. What to speak of touching you, it will not be able to reach you. You will be far away from all this. I will teach you that. Arjuna is listening. So are we, the students of the Bhagavad Gita. We are also listening. Oh, though Sri Krishna is no more alive in his physical form, but he has left this book of wisdom for us. And it is his words. Why don't I profit myself from these ideas emanating from these words? So Arjuna is the mouthpiece of the human society. He heard it from his mouth at that time in the battle of Kurukshetra, and Arjuna, through Arjuna, till two people walk on this earth, this Bhagavad Gita's teachings will exist. And we are the recipients of that wisdom. So, coming back to where we left last discourse, Arjuna asks, Sir, you have been mentioning very frequently about a state which I and you and everybody can achieve, we can all achieve because of your guidance, state known as Sthita Prajna. This is a technical terminology. Sthita means rock solid, stable. Nothing in this world can shake it, destabilize it. Sthita. Prajna. Prajna is wisdom. The maturity of that wisdom which emanates from experiencing my true original nature, that maturity is so rock solid, nothing in this world can disturb it, can touch it, can reach it. That is the meaning of the word Sthita Prajna, not rational. Rationally you understand, and by self-disciplining, by re-educating yourself, by learning the art of managing your faculties, you experience that reality as your true original nature. In Swami Vivekananda's modern word, you manifest the potential divinity which is your real, true, original nature. You do it by management of your own self. Rational conviction leads to an unstoppable motivation. That motivation leads you to unstoppable activity. That is known as sadhana. And that activity leads you to siddhi, achievement of your goal. Siddhi is success, achievement of your goal. He is now requesting Sri Krishna, Sir, could you tell me the definition of asthita prajna which has generated in him because he has achieved samadhi? How does he interact with his colleagues and people around him? How does he speak? How does he behave? How does he conduct himself? What is his mannerism? So that I can compare my present state of behavior, my present state of understanding, present state of mannerism with his. And I find out what is the difference, what is the distance, and how can I slowly and slowly, through the process of evolution, through the self-process, induced effort known as being and becoming, how I can be one with that. Could you tell me, sir? So let me quote Arjuna's questions as per it is mentioned in the Gita. Arjuna Vacha. Arjuna says, asks to his teacher Sri Krishna. What does he say? Sthita pragyasya ka bhasha. Bhasha here means definition. What is the definition of a sthita prajna? What is the definition of a samadhista purusha? A person who is totally involved in samadhi. Sthitadhi kim prabhasheta. How does a sthitadhi purusha, a realized soul, how does he interact with lesser mortals? He is a realized soul. But he, when his lifetime after realization, he interacts with the worldly people. How does he interact? Prabhasita, kim asita. Left to himself, how does he spend his time? Brajeta kim. How does he move with the flow of his life in the flow of this world? These are my questions, sir. That is, in totality, I would like to know the definition of a sthita prajna. Having known the definition of a sthita prajna, which has happened to him because he is a samadhista purusha, because he has achieved samadhi, and having achieved he is a sthita prajna, how does he interact with his colleagues and his contemporaries? How does he live when he is left to himself? And how does his flow of life intermingle with the flow of life of mind? Could you please kindly give me a total, complete, comprehensive description of a realized soul? That is why this part of the Gita is so very important. For whom? Those who want to build up their own character. It should not be kept here in the level of your rationality in your brains. It has to be brought down to the level of your heart so that you feel, you experience, you realize, and thereafter you share and care and empathize. That is the end result of your realization. It is not for your own purpose. You have been blessed by God with this realization. Why? So that you are a shining, bright, concrete example for people who aspire to reach that goal. Therefore, Lakshana, the description of signs and symptoms of realized soul, is nothing else but the goal of my future achievement. And Acharya Shankara says here, Yani Jatna Sadhyani Sadhanani Lakshanani Cha Bhavanti Tani Jatna Sadhatvat. This is it. Those which are the spontaneous behavior pattern of a realized soul, they are the objects of my self-imposed, determined, disciplined, devoted activity in performance. I have to perform that in my life to make it spontaneous. That's why this is so important. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha, this first shloka, we have spent a lot of time. I like to migrate to the second one, but let me rapidly read it. Prajahati jada kaman sarban partha manogatan. Let me paraphrase it to you and translate it to you. Hey Partha, dear child Partha, my cousin brother, listen to me carefully, devotedly, attentively, not casually. Put your heart and soul into what I say so that you can absorb, assimilate, and transform your personality. Shrinu, listen to me carefully, absorbently, assimilatively, so that you can transform your personality by latching yourself up, hooking yourself up, holding with both hands these ideas so that they saturate my whole being. That is the meaning of the word Shrinu. What do you listen? How can you sarban manogatan kaman prajahati? Sarban, in totality, in entirety. Kaman, the desires of this worldly life. Where do those desires come up from? And where do they go in again? To be preserved in your mind stuff, in your antakarana, the inner organ known as the human mind. All the desires emanate from it and they are stored in it to come up on a useful time, appropriate time. Sarvan kaman manogatan, sarvan modan kaman, jab prajahati yada, as and when, prakarshena, prakrishta rupena. These are the specific scientist words. It's a prefix, pra. What does it mean? In totality, without any possibility of its returning back again. Prajahati. Jahar means to throw it out, to reject. All worldly desires, they saturate me, they fill me up totally. Now, what is the Samadhista Purusha's Lakshana? What is the resultant of Samadhi Sthita Pragya's Lakshana? That he or she There's no gender difference in it. He or she has in totality removed the desires of life from his heart, from his mind in totality. Weeding up and throwing and burning it away, so that there is no possibility of its regeneration in my mind. The example is, you love your well-manicured lawn. You have created a wonderful velvety green lawn. And you, out of sheer love for it, every morning and evening, you go round. Why? To see whether any weed has come into it or not. If you find a weed in your lawn, you just sit there, go deep down, and slowly pull it out. In such a manner, no piece of root remains. Pull it out, you see, yes, the whole root is here. That weed will never regenerate there. So you weed out all the worldly desires from you. Now, from all of us, we are here. What do you think? I enjoy living because I strive to fulfill my ambition. And ambition is nothing else but desires. And you, Krishna, you are telling me to be desireless. I am a throbbing, vibrating, living creature. I am a most evolved human being. And you want me to get rid of my desires. Do you want me to reduce myself into an inanimate piece of object, a piece of marble, a stone, a timber? What type of spirituality are you talking of? If this is what your spirituality is, bye to you, sir. I'm not interested. If you stop reading the first line of the shloka, this is a danger looming forward. Sri Krishna immediately corrects it. Atmani eva atmana tushta. 4 words. What does he say? Look, dear, you are emptying yourself by eradicating worldly desires. You are emptying yourself. Don't allow it to remain empty. Fill it up with the awareness of the presence of the Ananda Swarupata of Satchidananda. That is, from one aspect you are draining out your desires, and from the other aspect you fulfill that empty space with the wine of God, the immortal wine of God. Let it be simultaneous, not this now, that later on. That is not the way. So what is the way? What is the procedure? The procedure is, I know 1,001 desires, they disturb me. Good enough. Let me try to concentrate my mind on that aspect of my divine whom I have accepted as my goal of life, my pole star, my ultimate aim, to be one with that. So, instead of willfully pursuing the desires, which is a movement of the mind, I stop that movement of the mind for a while and I tell my mind, please move inward. Try to find that eternal peace which is your true original nature, and try to hold your mind there. What happens? Automatically the mind doesn't go out, and automatically by your willful determined effort the mind is saturating itself with the concept of Ananda Swarupata, of Sridharananda Swarup, which is your true original nature. Atmani eva atmana tushta. You yourself, you concentrate yourself onto your true original nature, represented by your Ishta. As you know your true original nature as Jivatma, full of faults and frailties and foibles, so you have a representative of your true original nature, your Ishtadeva, and you concentrate on it. So what happens here? Emptying and filling go simultaneously. I'll give you an example. A very commonplace example which fits into this process of meditation thoroughly well. What is it? Here is a tank which has an inlet pipe on the top. Crystal clear water flows in from the top. Somehow or other, the tank is full of dirty water. And you have a pipe, a tap below, which is an outlet tap. I tell you, here's an assignment for you. You have the liberty to play with the tap, inlet tap, and the outlet tap. You have the liberty. I want crystal clear, pure water in the tank. 120% pure. You can only play with the taps. Go ahead, help me out. I want the tank to be crystal clear. Tank has an inlet pipe. Your capacity to willfully think of the divine. That's your capacity. You have that faculty in you. And you know, my heart is full of turgid contents compared to what I want to reach. So, you open the tap at the bottom, totally full open, maximum. Water flows out, but it is emptying. You don't want to be an inanimate object. So what do? You open the inlet tap also, which is crystal clear, clean water. That is, meditate on awareness of presence of God within you. So the tank water is going down and filling up. Going down and filling up. It is not emptying, neither it is spilling over. You have balanced it in such a manner that the dirty water, which is dense with dirt, becomes thinner and thinner and thinner with dirt. And a time comes when all dirty water has gone out and crystal clear, pure water is coming in. and you take a glass of water from the outlet, see, and if you want to go to a chemist, go and examine your water, whether it's 100% pure or not. You have done it. Inlet and outlet is under your control. You manage it and you fill yourself up with immortal wine of God. Atmani eva atmana tushta. When it is spontaneous with you, no more effort is required. The habit has matured into second nature and habit has saturated your nature. The question of effortfulness has disappeared. Effort has been replaced by spontaneity. And you have done it. Sthita pragya tada uchyate. Jada sarvan manogatan kaman prajahati. When all the inner desires about the world has totally been evacuated, ejected, eradicated, thrown out. And you don't live in vacuum. You are filling yourself up with wine of God. And a time comes when you have saturated yourself with God. Tada, at that time, the definition of sthita pragya, samadhista purusha, sits squarely on you, otherwise not. This is how Sri Krishna starts these remaining 18 shlokas, one of the most brilliant sections of the Bhagavad Gita amongst these 18 chapters. You will have other brilliant sections also, this being the first and extremely analytic. Patanjali's Yoga Sutra is written based on this methodology. Though it is elder to this, it came before Gita came. So Gita is a summation of Patanjali's Yoga Sutra in all these lakshanas. Now let us go to the second shloka, 56. He continues. What does he say? Dukkheshu anudvignamana, sukheshu vigata spriha, vita raga bhaya krodha, sthita dhir muriruchyate. This is the second shloka. Let me paraphrase it to you and you'll understand. It's very easy now. He says, Dukkheshu na udvigna manaha. Dukkha, sadness, misery and happiness. In this life of ours, we go through sadness, misery and happiness. And it disturbs us. When will it end? How will it end? I can't suffer it any longer. Oh dear me, when it will come to an end? What should I do? All this concern and apprehension keeps on troubling you over and above your sadness. That state of mind is known as udvigna mana. Udvigna means concerned. Concerned about what? When and how it will disappear. What? The sadness that I am going through. Over and above the sadness, I add additional misery because of my concerns. There is an example in the Vivek Chudamani. You have seen a monkey which keeps on scratching itself occasionally. All the times. Sitting idle, it keeps on scratching. Restless. A honeybee stings him. He is more restless. and somebody gives him a drink, alcohol, he is restless more. We are like that monkey. We are going through a phase of sadness, and without taking it in my stride, I am annoyed, I am excited, I am uncertain, I am anxious. How to get rid of it? Sadness itself is a cause of restlessness, and I add up all that to me. A sthita pragya purusha who has seen through this ball game, when sadness, so-called sadness, assails him, now the Vignamana, he is not bothered. He is immersed in the thought of God. Not only immersed in thought of God, he continues to do good to others. And the best example I can give you is Jesus the Christ. When he was being crucified and tortured, the ordinary sepoys, the army men, were poking him with spears. Instead of weeping, instead of wailing, instead of getting angry, annoyed, vengeful, what did that Son of Man say and do? He looked up to the skies, to heaven, told his Father, O Father, the Lord God of the universe in heaven, O Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. These ordinary sepoys, they do not know. They are torturing the Son of God. They are doing it unknowingly. They are not to be blamed. They are following orders. Please forgive them. Dukkheshu anidvignavana. Remember this example lifelong. Let misery not disturb you. This is it. Sukheshu bigataspriya. What happened to us when we are happy? When we enjoy things of the world? Let more come to me. Let it continue. Let it be more intense. Let it continue. What should I do to continue it? My desire keeps on increasing. And I get restless again to see that it continues. Bigata spriha. Bigata means totally gone. Spriha, the desire to extend it. Desire to eliminate duksha will not be there. Desire to extend my joy would not be there. Pleasure and pain is a way of life in the domain of Maya. It comes and it goes. Agama, apaina, anitta, tang, stitikshasya bharata. You have read it in the second chapter. Agama, it was not there. It comes in time. Oh, I was not happy 5 minutes ago. I am very happy now. Agama. It comes at a point of time. Apaina. It stays for a while and disappears. Therefore, it is not real, not eternal. Tang stitikshasya bharata. You just bite your jaw and take it in your stride. It has come, it has gone. Don't get restless. And what is titiksha? Sahanam sarva dukkhanam apratikara purvakam tam titiksha nigaddate. It is from the scriptures again. Titiksha means sahanam sarva dukkhanam. You take it in your stride, whatever misery comes your way. It's a way of life. Life swings between, like a pendulum, between pleasure and pain. Take it in your stride. Chinta bilapa rahitam. Don't get concerned. Why so? Why me? Why not he? Why should I be the victim of this? No, that's bad. I should correct myself. Correct the situation. Chinta bilapa is weeping and wailing. Chinta bilapa rahitam. Don't weep and wail. Take it in your stride. That is titiksha for you. Resilience. You are undisturbed, you are poised, you are serene, you are tranquil. In common English language, remain as cool as a cucumber. Let not pleasure or pain distract you. Nagniriva indanadi adane sukhani anu vivardante. What does he say? He says, fire is burning and you put fuel there. Fire will burn more. Withdraw the fuel from the fire. Fire will extinguish. Get rid of that desire to enjoy more. Automatically your restlessness will disappear. Dukkheshu anidbhugnamana Sukheshu bigata spreha. What else? Bita raga bhaya krodha. Bita means bigata. In totality it has disappeared. What has disappeared? The Shada Ripu. He has mentioned only 3 here. Raga bhaya krodha. Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Madhamatsarja. 6 propensities. Let them lose hold on you. Let desire not tease you. Let Krodha not disturb you. Anger not disturb you. Let Lobha, means temptation, tantalize you. Moha, let not confusion delude you. Mother is arrogance. Let not that arrogance spoil your sense of discretion. And Matsarja, let not envy make you small. Bigata, Raga, Bhaya, Krodha. Raga and Dvesha go together. Likeness and aversion. Attachment and aversion. Bhaya is fear and Krodha is anger. All these natural human passions, natural, it is normal. You have to educate yourself to go beyond it. If you have done so, that will only happen when you have realized, experienced your own potential, true, original nature. You are then considered to be or fit to be addressed as a Sthitadhi Purusha. Sthitadhir Muniruchyate. Muni means Manana Shila Muni. What is Manana Shila? Manana Shila means a man who is constantly cogitating, who is constantly positively thinking, I am the soul, I am Nitya, eternal, Suddha, pure. Buddha is awareness, Nitya, Suddha, Buddha, Mukta. Therefore I am free, I am the soul, Satchit Ananda Swarupaha, Shivoham, Shivoham. That is what I am. A Muni. Muni means a man who constantly dwells on these ideas. He has nothing else to do but this. when he fits into this category, he is known as Sthitadhi Purusha. So we have studied shloka number 56, the second shloka of the Sthita Prajna's Lakshana, Dukkheshu Anudvignamana. Don't get disturbed and concerned and annoyed, anxious and annoyed when you're passing through a bad phase of life. Bite your chin, hold your jaw, and face it out with resilience. Titiksha. Shukheshu bigata spriya. Don't crave after sukha, happiness. It comes and it goes. It will not stay eternally with you. Don't crave that. If it comes, good enough. If it is not, good enough. Good enough for me. Whether it's pleasure or it is pain, whether it is aversion or it's attachment. Good enough for me. I refuse to get attached or averse. I refuse to get angry. And I refuse to be scared. I am in me. I am with myself. I am saturated, totally comfortable with what I am. I am the absolute Ananda Swarup of Satchidanand. That is what my constant thinking is. If you fit this bill, you are a Sthita Prajna Purusha. So dears, to conclude, let us go back to the old theory of mine. That's not mine, from the scriptures. You see, it is informative, it is educative, it is instructive, it is descriptive. You are being informed. You never knew about all these ideas. The Gita is informative to you. And that information converts itself into an education. Oh, this is what I have to teach myself. How do I? He says, do this, don't do this. That is instruction. Information, education, instruction. What will happen to me? You will be a Sthita Prajna. Nothing in this world will be able to disturb you. What to speak of disturbing you will not be able to touch you. What to speaking of touching you, the world and its antiques will not be able to reach you. You are poised in the majesty, the excellence, the regality of your own soul. This is what happens to you. Then you are worthy, you are fitted into the description of being a Sthitadhi Purusha, and you will be called Samadhistha Purusha, Sthitadhi Purusha, a Muni, Mananashila Purusha. That is what you will be addressed. Thank you, dear friends. Let us go slow, but let us absorb each and every idea that emanates from it, and let us put it into practice in our day-to-day life. And that will take you beyond pleasure and pain, and you will not be an inanimate object. You will be a throbbing, vibrating, living entity, living in the majesty, glory, regality of your own true origin and nature, manifesting the potential divinity which is already within you. And Gita is informing you, educating you, instructing you, and describing where you should reach. Thank you, dear. Thank you very much for your kind attention and patience. We meet again next Sunday. Thank you. Shiva, Shiva, Shiva.
Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.